It's time to start reading books. Put them away. I'm sorry. They're not helping you. They're not. You're continuing to read the work of other people and what they think you should be thinking. And I'm sorry. It's not working. It's the worst thing you can do for yourself is to keep reading books by other people and doing what they say you're supposed to do. Oh, when you haven't gotten to know you. Do you realize how critical that is? That if you haven't learned to think, what a concept. What a concept. Thinking versus remembering or recalling. Thinking, a skill which uses the information available and takes it to create something new that can move forward. Not only ascertain what's happening, but also create a new possibility to move forward. That's essentially what thinking is, the ability to take information and its present state and create something from it that can move you forward versus remembering, recalling, or not knowing what to do. And the worst thing you can do is keep reading somebody else's book when you don't know who you are. Because then you get confused. You'll read one person's book and you'll go, oh my God, this is the person I believe and I'm following them. And then you read the next person's book, you'll go, oh my God, this is the person I believe I'm going to follow them. And that's what happens over and over, book after book. And so we don't know what to do with the information we have. Or worse yet, this is even worse. Because Simon Sinek said it, it's true. Who in the hell is Simon Sinek? I mean, I know who Simon Sinek is, but why do we over-glorify people so much? Trust me, there are people, when I read their content, it speaks to me. But I also find my disagreements with them, not just for the sake of having a disagreement, but because I know who I am. I've spent the time with me, not because I live to be my age, but because I've been doing the personal development work. So when I sense something and or I read something, I don't have to agree because one of my favorite people said it. I can question it. Why? Because I know that they're human too. And because they're human, they're not infallible. They're not just right. And this, my friends, is what I offer to you. If you don't know you, you're going to be really upset when Simon Sinek's way don't work for you. You might even begin to blame yourself. There's something I must have not done right. When we idolize people without knowing who we are, that's the natural response. We go within and we demonize our process or our methodology. Whereas the truth, or more accurate truth, would be, you know what? Simon Sinek has a way. And it worked for him. But that will not work for somebody else. Not even close. The danger that you're up against is you'll get tossed side to side. I just gave you an example of how that can work. But as you get to know you and identify you, you can look at both parties and go, you know what? I'm going to craft my own pathway. I'm going to craft my own pathway and try something uniquely different. And there's so much brilliance in that. So much beauty in being able to do that. I'm not saying that's what it will always be, but think about the liberty you can have when you actually know you. Now you're basing it off of a truth from within you, the experiences you've had, not that they're right or wrong, you've just had them, but you have the openness of mind to receive and exchange thoughts, to do the work of thinking versus just believing and following, so that you get the chance to choose. I know, this is stuff we talk about all the time. But how many of you are still following mama and papa's dreams for you? How many of you are still suffering from a relationship that didn't work and what they said about you? How many of you are still trying to prove somebody wrong for what they said about you? Why would you do that? How many of you still trying to build the American dream because that's what was given to you? Yeah. See, that book example was easy. But now that we're starting to talk about real things in real life, how and why you make your choices, what influences your decisions, what success looks like to you compared to somebody else. My guy called me, one of my buddies, he called me about a couple months ago and he said, dude, Do you realize like the average age is like 72 for retirement? Like that's going to be the new age. And that when it was at 68, the average person dies like within the first 4 to 7 years of retirement, especially men. What? What? Him and I both are like, oh, hell no. That's not going to be our life. The question is, why are they dying though? Is it because they no longer have purpose? Is it because their identity was stripped from them? Oh, okay, it wasn't stripped. It was in the role that they played versus having an authentic connection to who they were so that they could show up to work, be authentic, and do what they're supposed to do, but not get lost in the context of the role that they played, mixing it up with who they really are in life and or mixing it up with their status in life. I'm not saying your status doesn't matter, but your status doesn't matter. Because the old phrase that you heard that you bypass because you got some bread, you got a strategy, you got a company. We both put our pants on the same way, one leg at a time. But we bought into the societal myths that keep us separated. But it's not about keeping us separated as much as it is, it's not so much about keeping us separated as much as it is keeping us out of tune with who we are. Because when you're out of tune with who you are, separation is easy. And now you're up against someone else. But the funny thing about it is, the someone else is not your enemy. The someone else is not the one that's actually trying to take you down. The someone else is not actually someone in your way. A good friend of mine, we were doing a meditation. She said, one of the lines in her meditation, every person is for, how does she say it? Thank you, universe, every person is for my golden good. It was something to that effect. And what she was acknowledging in her own spirit is she remember that everybody that shows up in my life is there to help me expand who I am. Not selfishly, but selfishly. Not selfishly meaning she doesn't care about them, but selfishly because she knows she has to expand. And when she expands and she has something to exchange with them, and life gets gooder, better, greater. Yeah, all of that. But it can't happen if you still listening to somebody else about who you are. Listen, we talk about this stuff in our free VIP group. Go below, tap below, join the free VIP group. You might as well come on in there. It's free. Hello? Exchange with great minds as we continue to expand this community. The proper perspective makes all the difference in the world. In the meantime, below, like, comment, give me some feedback. Let's exchange. Take this into the VIP, but keep it here too, or share with somebody you love. Peace.